So, good morning everyone, welcome back to France, and welcome to March, I should say. It's a new month. So what you just saw happen was me transferring some money to the contractor. That's 6,500 euros, as you can see on the invoice right here on my phone, which I technically shouldn't be looking at while driving, but to be fair, I have edited it in. What a terrible thing to say. So yeah, that was the invoice for spreading the manure, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that again because it was rather expensive for just 2 hours of work. I'm now on my way to the fields. I've got to start the seedbed preparations for the sugar beets that are going in, because they're going to be sown somewhere later tonight or in the afternoon. Last episode I was talking about the different types of cultivators, and that the other cultivator was leaving quite a uneven field, and that this one doesn't because of the way it's set up. So the big difference between the lifter one that I used last episode and this one is the amount of tines you have. So this one has 3 rows of tines, which means that the ground's getting worked more and it's getting turned over more. The more tines you have, the more level it usually is. And then to finish it off, it has those discs, and they are positioned right in between the last tines, as you can see. So the ridges that are thrown up by the last tines are actually leveled out by the discs in the back here. This was supposed to be an easy, quick job. However, I kind of forgot that this field hadn't been cultivated yet, but only been worked with a subsoiler. So unfortunately, I've got to actually cultivate this one because it's not the soil isn't open up deep enough for the sugar beets to properly grow in. So I'm going to start with this field, as this is going to take the longest, and I'm going to lower this one down to work at its complete working depth. And then from the other 2 fields, it's just a seedbed preparation. This will hurt the yield slightly, I'm afraid, but I really don't have a choice because I don't have the time to do both the primary and the seedbed preparation on this field. So I'll just leave it with the primary and hope that the drill that a contractor uses is rather good, so it doesn't necessarily need a seedbed preparation. So I'm on the final pass of this field. I hope you enjoyed the little cinematic I made. But yeah, I'm on the final pass of this field. As you can see, it's nice and level and black, and it actually turned out rather well for a seedbed. So for anyone who's wondering why I'm always driving it and it's always me doing the work, that's because I'm by myself at the moment. The farm isn't big enough yet to actually have someone on the farm full time. There is a lad in the village who can help out with like field work where he has to stay in the field, but he's rather young and not allowed to drive on public roads yet. So yeah, been mostly me for the probably first 2 years. Actually, I've heard friends of mine moved to Sweden to a dairy farm, and they actually said like, yeah, it takes 2 years for the farm to fully become yours and to fully be like operated the way you want to do. So I expect that to be the same for an arable farm, so it'll take approximately 2 years before everything runs the way I want to. So I've changed I had to kind of look up how to do it. You can't actually say much, but I've changed the working mode from deep to shallow, so you see the marker in the middle of the screen. First the cultivator went roughly that deep into the ground. Now it should only go like to the top of the shanks, and that way it would actually you're driving on a high speed, so I was driving 10. Hopefully I'll be able to drive 15 right now. That way you can actually create a very level seed pad. I'll probably just time lapse these two fields and get them done. With that, the field is done and it's time to head home. The contractor actually already arrived, as you can see just over there. I'm just gonna hop out, have a quick look at the progress. So I'm pretty sure they already finished this field. Yeah, look at that. Nice and neat in rows, relatively flat. Actually looks really good. I know it actually looked really good considering the soil prep that I did on this field was not as good as I had on the other two. Seems fine. They're actually seeding with quite a big piece of equipment. Oh bloody hell, they're seeding with a TerraTrack. Well, that's really good for compaction actually, because wild beast of a machine to see. One day I'll have a farm big enough to own this. So yeah, they're using a horse seed drill. Class action TerraTrack with a horse seeder behind it and a tank in the front, and the tank's actually running over the ground so that it's actually kinda compacting the soil as well. I'm getting some pressure off the front tires, tracks on the rear, minimal soil compaction, and then they're actually running rather aggressive seeding units. So they've got a first coulter, that first discs that opens up the soil, then that cuts up the soil, then there are two discs that split open the row unit, or the seed row. That's where the seed is going to be dropped in. Seed is being dropped in between here, just at the cursor. It's being closed off by the discs and the wheels behind it, and then there are pressure wheels at the end closing the ridge, burying the seed nice and deep in the ground where it can grow. Alright, I'll leave him working. I'm heading home. And I'm actually gonna probably grab a cup of coffee and bring it over for him. So I'm just now driving up to two of the barley fields that I own. It's roughly, every plot is roughly 5 hectares, just slightly over. I believe this is like 5.2 or 5.3 hectares. Yeah, but actually it looks like a good crop. No major damage or open spots. Weeds have all been killed off. I'm pretty sure it has all the fertilization it needs, so that's good. And yeah, all in all, these look like really good crops, to be honest. So interested to see what they bring.
Just like an aeroplane, it takes you over and over again. My love is just like an aeroplane, it brings you closer to what you wanted. This is what I wanted to. My love is just like the ocean, it draws you closer and closer to me. My love is just like the ocean, it pulls you further from the shore. Is this what you wanted? It's time to waste.
We had a quick cup of coffee and the contractor is off to the next field. As you can see, that's the last one that needs to be planted today, or at least for me today. And actually that's the last of my fields that's getting planted. So he's off doing his job and I'm heading back to the farm. I'm actually going to be leaving it here for this video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope to see you guys again in the next episode. If you've enjoyed this one, please like, comment and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Bye for now. See you later.